Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Oh, may the divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Oh, peace, peace, peace.
July 1885, the day of Ratha Yatra, Thakur Sri Ramakrishna came to Bagbajar at Balaram Vasu's house. Narendranath was there and he sang many songs in the living room of Balaram Vasu. This Rabindra Sangeet was one of them. The meaning of the song is like this. I have made you the polar star of my existence. Never again can I lose my way in voyage of life. Wherever I go, you are there to shower your beneficence all around me. Your face is always present before my mind's eyes. If ever I step the wrong way, your shining face makes me ashamed. You are indeed the North Star of my life. तुम्हारे कोरियाची जीवनेर ध्रुवतार तुम्हारे कोरियाची जीवनेर ध्रुवतार ए সমুদ্রে আরো কবু হব পথহারা তোমাদের করিয়া যে জীবনের ধ্রুবতার যেথা আমি যাই না গো তুমি প্রকাশিত থাকো যেথা আমি যাই না গো তুমি প্রকাশিত থাকো অকুল নয়ন জলে ধনো কিরণ ধারা তোমাদের ই করিয়া যে জীবনের ধ্রুবতার তবু মুখ সদা মনে জাগিতেছে সঙ্গপনে লিখ অন্তর খুলে নহেরি পুলকে নারা কখনো বিপথে যদি রমিতে চাহে কখনো বিপথে যদি রমিতে চাহে অমনি অমুখ হে জীবনের ধ্রুবতারা এই সমুদ্রে আরো হব না গো পথহারা তোমারে করিয়া যে জীবনের ধ্রুবতারা।
I'm reading from the book, The Monk Without Frontiers. This is Reminiscences of Swami Ranganathananda Ji Maharaj by Meenakshi Sivaramakrishnan, a devotee from Bangalore. It was in Bangalore and Swamiji was with us at a parlor talk we had arranged. As we served him some refreshments, I said that I was going to give up all work and devote my time to japa and meditation. I thought he would bless me. But he said, "Sit down here." I sat down. It seemed to be out of the blue when he asked, "Can you cook?" I thought something was wrong with the food. So hesitatingly I said, "Yes, Maharaj." "Can you sew?" "Yes, Maharaj." Similar questions followed. "Can you drive? Can you read? Can you write? Can you sing? Can you knit?" And so on. I was confused why there was such a barrage of questions even as I answered in the affirmative. He already knew that I could do all this. Then he asked me from whom I had learned this. I had to mention the names of several friends. Then he said, "You have got so much from the society. What are you giving back to the society from which you took so much?" Even today, when I think of giving up work outside home, the Swami's voice shakes me up. He was never agitated in his speech, yet his words were very powerful enough to make people get up to act. Once, in a question-answer session at a meeting, I asked, "Swamiji, you keep saying that we should control our anger. But we know about our anger only after we become angry. What to do?" He said, "It's a very practical question. That means you are aware of your anger. Every time you are angry, tell yourself that you have no right to be angry. If such thoughts are forceful enough, in due course, anger would come under control." A very practical, direct reply indeed. Several persons have benefited from this piece of advice from him. Yes.
Now it's a short period of meditation.
everyone, and welcome you to today's special Sunday service. It's still summer recess of Vedanta Society, but we are able to do this Sunday service because of the august presence of Swami Purnatmananda Maharaj. On this auspicious day, it's a very auspicious day, it's Rakhi Purnima, and also birthday of one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Niranjanananda. Swami Purnatmananda especially came for Toronto, and before that he traveled US, Singapore, Japan, wherever Swami Vivekananda had gone, followed the same route. And then he diverted from Chicago, he came to New York, and this Toronto where Swami Vivekananda couldn't come, though he wanted to come and he had agreed to come, but something happened and they cancelled the invitation. But Swamiji comes, not physically, but he very much come in 1968 as Vedanta Society was established, and he is very much among us in thought and inspiration. And with that love for Swami Vivekananda brought Swami Purnatmananda all the way from India here during his very busy schedule. He is the head of a big center, Swami Vivekananda Ancestral Home and Cultural Center in Kolkata. But he accepted our invitation. We are very grateful to Swamiji for having come, taken all the trouble to take this long flight to come to Toronto. He gave his seminar talks yesterday and participated in a panel discussion. All were very happy to have Swamiji here. And not to take much time before he starts today's wonderful talk that he himself chose the topic, practical spirituality. Swamiji is very well known for his talks in Bengal, and he's one of the best speakers there in Kolkata, and prolific writer, reader, and very sought after speaker. So to give his introduction in short, Swami Purnatmananda joined the Ramakrishna Order in 1974 after completing his master's degree in English literature at Calcutta University. During his monastic life, he has served in many centers of the Ramakrishna Mission, including as the head of publications at the Institute of Culture in Bhopal and as the editor of Bengali journal Udbodhan. He was editor of the Bengali journal Udbodhan for 14 years, long 14 years. To run a journal is a very difficult job, but he was not being allowed to leave that. And Swamiji got very close contact, and in fact his mentor was Swami Lokeshwaranandaji. Many of you might have heard his name. He visited Toronto many years ago, and he is one of the very well-known monk of our order who passed away many years ago. He was in fact his guide and his mentor in many ways, Swami Lokeshwaranandaji. For more than a decade, Swami Purnatmananda served as the head of the center in Tripura, which houses a large educational complex with more than 800 students. His tireless efforts in the area of education and health, not only for the students, but for the general tribal population, earned him much affection and appreciation in the state and beyond. Swami Purnatmananda is a prolific writer, having authored or edited as many as 24 books and many articles. He has visited many centers in India and around the world to speak about Vedanta. Currently, he is the head of the Swami Vivekananda Ancestral Home and Cultural Center in Kolkata. Now I request Swami Purnatmananda Maharaj to give his talk to us.
Dear Swami Kripamayanandaji and dear devotees and friends, I am very much grateful to Swami Kripamayanandaji for his kind and cordial invitation to me to visit Toronto on the occasion of the Center's Golden Jubilee celebration. And I am also very happy to have been able to come over here. And in connection with this tour to Toronto, I have been able to cover some of the centers of the United States and other centers in Singapore and Japan. So these gave me an opportunity to visit the centers of, some centers of United States, Canada, and some centers of the Asiatic continent. I mean Singapore and Japan. So I am privileged for having this opportunity to come over here and to meet you in this August Assembly. So now, to come to my topic, which is, you have already heard, practical spirituality. Spirituality, you all know, at least you have some idea about spirituality, but what is practical spirituality? Years ago, when I was the head of the publication department and the research department at the Institute of Culture in Kolkata, under the tutelage of revered Swami Lokeshwaranji Maharaj. He was the head of the center. I requested him to write an editorial for the bulletin of the Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture. It's a monthly journal type, and he was the editor of the bulletin. So I requested him, Maharaj, kindly write an editorial entitled Practical Spirituality. Maharaj said, why do you request for writing this particular, on this particular topic? There is some reason. What is the reason? Because I want to collect and compile all the editorials that we have contributed to this magazine, this monthly bulletin of the Institute of Culture. And I want that the title of the ensuing book will be Practical Spirituality. So I want, please write an observation with this title. Then the book will be entitled Practical Spirituality. Maharaj smiled and wrote the editorial, and collecting and compiling maybe about 40, 50 editorials, or maybe more than that, the book was published with the title Practical Spirituality. When it was published, one senior monk, who happened to be my professor in the college life, he told me, this title has not been correctly put. Now why? Because you could have said spirituality in practice, but you should not say practical spirituality. This is not the desired and cherished title of a book like this. Since he was my teacher, I did not argue with him. A few days later, I came across one lecture by Swami Vivekananda himself, which has been included in the complete works of Swami Vivekananda in volume 2, that is second volume. He gave a lecture in Pasadena in the United States in 1900. And the title of the topic was Hints on Practical Spirituality. So I got the reply. The caption of the lecture was Hints on Practical Spirituality. You will find it in the volume 2 of the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. Immediately, I told that Swami, who was maybe 10 years senior to me and my professor in the college days, I said, Maharaj, it should be like this also, practical spirituality. How could you say that? Swami Vivekananda himself has given a lecture, delivered a lecture on this particular topic entitled Hints on Practical Spirituality. the moment I mentioned the name of Swami Vivekananda and told that Swami Vivekananda himself delivered a lecture with this topic, he just kept mum. Sure, nobody can argue with that. A formidable person like Swami Vivekananda delivered a lecture with the title Hints on Practical Spirituality. So I got the answer. Now, that Swami told me the topic, the title of the book would have been, and he said that it would be apt and appropriate also, that spirituality in practice. But Swami Vivekananda says practical spirituality. I mean, that is more appropriate and that is more dear to our heart. And what is this practical spirituality? It is in fact nothing else but spirituality in practice. Unless we get an exemplification, an illustration in some person of the spiritual virtues, we do not get an idea about the particular spiritual virtue. Suppose we discuss about forgiveness. How could we know that forgiveness was like this? Unless we get the example, the brilliant example in the life of Jesus. When he was murdered, when he was crucified, then what did he say? A beautiful prayer from his lips came out just at the time of his passing away or death. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. So this is called forgiveness. And this is exemplified most brilliantly and most perfectly in the life of Jesus the Christ. So we need the spiritual virtues to be implemented, to be exemplified, to be incarnated in some person. Then we can understand, then we can realize what is this virtue exactly is. So practical spirituality gives the idea to us that spirituality must be practiced, must be practical. Unless spiritual virtues are not practiced and get practical shape in anybody's life, we do not conceive the idea or conceive the virtue, what it is exactly. For example, honesty. We know about honesty, we know what it is, but unless it is exemplified in somebody's life, actions and movements, we do not have the actual perception and conception of the spiritual virtue. So forgiveness is a spiritual virtue. Honesty also is a spiritual virtue. So the virtues like kindness, virtues like love, and so on and so forth, they should be practical in anybody's life, actions, behavior, and movement. Swami Vivekananda was discussing about Vedanta, spirituality, true religion in London. And Sister Nivedita, who was then Margaret Elizabeth Noble, used to listen to Swami Vivekananda in all his lectures there in London. Then she wrote a letter to Swami Vivekananda and put a question to him. Swamiji, I am listening to your lectures here on Vedanta, on Hinduism, and on many other topics, but I can't understand what is exactly you are preaching, going to preach. What is the central idea of your message? Will you kindly write to me in a few words about the central message of yours? Then Swamiji wrote to Sister Nivedita, then Margaret Elizabeth Noble, in reply. The reply is very famous. Swamiji wrote, my ideal can be put into a few words, and it is this: to preach unto mankind its divinity and how to make it manifest in every movement of life. So divinity is all right, but divinity should be proved in any person's or a person's every movement of life. That is most important. Unless it is exemplified, unless it is illustrated in our movements of life, we cannot have a conception clear regarding that particular aspect of religion or spirituality. So, this is very important. Swamiji's words, it should be practiced, it should be realized in a person's every movement of life. So spirituality is that virtue, a great virtue of course, maybe the noblest virtue of human conception, which should be illustrated in every moment of our life. You have heard the name of Swami Lokeshwaranji Maharaj, who was my mentor. He used to say, it is not enough that you are honest. You must show that you are honest. You must prove that you are honest. Unless it is proved or shown in your life, then honesty does not have any meaning at all. So this is the thing I am going to discuss before you today, this morning. Now Swami Vivekananda, in one of his letters, writes to one of his friends, maybe a brother disciple, what is the essence of religion or spirituality? What is the central message of spirituality or religion? Swamiji writes in the letter, Sarva Shastra Puraneshu Vyasasya Vachana Dvayam Parapakaro Punnayo Papayo Parapirana. Swamiji says, as the essential message that has been enshrined in the scriptures of humanity at large is this, that has been summed up by Vyasadeva the Great by two expressions. What are those two expressions? Swamiji writes, Parapakara Punnaya. Parapakara means serving others. Papaya Parapirana. What is Punna? That is serving others. And what is Papa? Vyasadeva says, Parapirana. When you hurt anybody, when you injure anybody, then that is Papa. There is no other things which can be called Punna or Dharma or Papa. Punna is serving others, Parapakara, according to Vyasadeva, the great, the composer of the Mahabharata. And what is Papa? There is nothing as Papa except when you hurt anybody, when you injure anybody, that is Papa. And our Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda used to say, there is nothing as sin. Sri Ramakrishna could not hear the word sin or papa or sinner, that is papi, in his famous lecture at the Parliament of Religions in Chicago in 1893. At the Parliament of Religions, Swamiji read out a paper on Hinduism. In that paper, Swamiji says, he just echoing his master, Sri Ramakrishna. Ye divinities on earth, addressing everyone. Ye divinities on earth, not sinners. Who calls you sinner? It is a sin to call a man sinner. A fantastic expression. Nobody heard like that. It is a sin to call a man sinner. It is standing liable on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are sheep. your souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. This is what Swami Vivekananda said at the Parliament of Religions in Chicago while reading out his historic paper on Hinduism. So there is nothing as seen. Then what is there? Sri Ramakrishna also says like that, there is nothing which can be called seen, papo or papi. It is a sin to call a person, a man, sinner. Then Swami Vivekananda says, then there is nothing as seen, nothing as sinner. Then the persons, the people who are committing murder, stealing, robbing of anybody else, everything, then what he or she may be called, if not papi or sinner, Swamiji says no. He or she can't be called sinner because there is nothing as seen. There is only one thing that is called divinity. Only divinity. Only divine. Nothing as seen or sinner. Because man is divine. Swami Vivekananda used to say, each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest the divinity within by controlling nature, external or internal. Do this either by work or worship, by knowledge, by psychic control, or any other matter, any other means, and be free. That is the ideal of religion. It is the ideal, the goal of spirituality, to be free, free from all these things, all these bondages. Just now we are reading, we are hearing some portion from a book regarding Swami Ranganathananda ji, the monk without frontier. And you have heard, just the gentleman was reading before us, that can you control your anger? If you can, then it will be a spiritual value. If you can't, then it can't be a value at all. If you can control your anger, your greed, your selfishness, your ego, your jealousy, your envy, then you will be able to call a spiritual person. I don't say that he or she will be a religious person. By religion, we usually mean a person belonging to some particular creed. Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, and so on and so forth. So, Swamiji was preferring the term spirituality, not religion. Spirituality has no boundary. It is universal in character. It is universal in its expression. That's why Swamiji preferred the term spirituality. And he also preferred the term practical spirituality. So many hyperboles we used in reference to spirituality and religion. But so what if those things, those virtues do not get exemplified and illustrated in our life, in our behavior, in our action, in our movements, in our treatment to others? So it is useless unless it is verified, unless it is exemplified in our life, in our character. That's why Swamiji said, we want man-making religion, character-building religion, nation-building religion. Sister Nivedita used to say, my mission is nation-making. Swami Vivekananda says, my mission is man-making. It's no difference between the two. Unless man is not made properly, in the true sense of the term, how the nation could be made. So what Swami Vivekananda says and what Sister Nivedita, his disciple, says, both are the same thing. So Swami Vivekananda says, my mission is man-making religion, character-building religion, nation-building religion. That's all. So if a nation is called great by what yardstick, by what measurement. A nation is great not by the accumulation of wealth that it has been able to make, not by a huge military army that it has developed, no, not by the amount, the number of population that it has at its disposal, no. A nation is great where its people are all excellent in their character, in their behavior, in their every movement of life. So, Swamiji says, Papa is that when you hurt anybody, and Punna is that when you serve anybody. Swamiji was against using the word helping others. Actually, we may translate that Parapaparo like this, helping others. No, according to Swamiji's viewpoint, we cannot use that word help. Swamiji says, you cannot help anybody, but we always helping others. We always say we helping others. And Swamiji says, you cannot help anybody. You can't help. What you can do? Swamiji says, you can only serve. Serve in the spirit of worship. That should be the standpoint. That should be the ideal. Serve in the spirit of worship. That is Swamiji's ideal. That is Ramakrishna's ideal. And that is also the ideal of Buddha or Christ or Muhammad or any great prophet of the world. Now, we get many episodes or anecdotes about many kings, sages of the past. In Hinduism, there was a great king named Harishchandra, very famous king. There was a great king called Ushinar. There is another great king that was Shivi, like that. So many kings, very benevolent, very great kings who help others to grow, serve others. But these characters are all mythological characters. If anybody questions about their historicity, you should be kept mum. You cannot give any reply. But is there any historical person, historical figure who has exemplified his great spiritual virtues in his or in our life? The first historical figure in history, in the history of the world, is Buddha. You see, he wanted to sacrifice his own life. For what? Not for the kingdom, not for anything else, but to save the life of an insignificant animal. I think you know the story. Buddha was like that. And what Jesus said, we have already mentioned, when he was being killed, actually he was killed, he was murdered when he was crucified. And at the time of his last breath, he was praying to God, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. He is praying mercy for those who have murdered him. So it's something unusual, something unnatural, and we may call it is supernatural. This is called forgiveness. This is called non-violence. This is called unselfishness. These are all great, very great spiritual virtues. And we can realize them, we can have an idea about them when they got exemplified in their life, like Buddha or Christ. Also, Krishna had the same thing, our great prophet Krishna. You see, the great obstacle in our life, in the field of our development of human excellence, is our ego, our selfishness. And Sri Ramakrishna used to say, when your eye is kill, then you are free of all rubbish and nonsense. In Bengali, he used to say, Ami mole bhuchibe janjar. Those who are Bengalis here, you understand what it is. Ami mole bhuchibe janjar. Where you will be able to kill your ego, your selfishness, then every nonsense and rubbish will be killed there. Everything will be going. So you please remember this thing, to kill your ego, to kill your selfishness. That is a great spiritual virtue that Sri Ramakrishna says. That's why his mantra was this, watchword was like this, Naham, Naham, Tuhu, Tuhu, not me but thou. That also Christ says in the Bible, not me but thou. That means killing your ego, killing your selfishness. Be selfless. And Swami Vivekananda says, selfishness is a sin and selflessness is religion or spirituality. And Christ says, when you cross your eye, please mind you, when you cross your eye means meaning himself, when you are able to cross your eye, then you will become Christ. Cross your eye and you will become Christ. Buddha says, I do not call him a hero. I call him a hero who has controlled his own mind. So he is a hero. Buddha says, I call him a hero who has controlled his own mind, not him who has vanquished a huge army. No, not him, but him who has been able to conquer his own mind. So that is Buddha says, and I mentioned what Christ says. So these are the spiritual virtues we must remember, and that is fantastic when Christ says, cross your eye and you will become Christ. In spirituality, feeling has a very great place. Try to feel. Swami Vivekananda says, do you feel? Can you feel? When he was coming to the United States to join this Parliament of Religions in Chicago, after his great wandering over the whole country, that is India, he said to one of his brother disciples, Swami Turiyanandaji, brother, I cannot understand what your so-called religion says. Mind you, Swami Vivekananda is saying this. Brother, I cannot understand what your so-called religion says. But one thing I have been able to realize, that my heart has been expanded. Expanded like anything. I have been taught to feel for others. I have a great feeling for others. Swamiji says, can you feel like Christ? Do you feel like Christ? If you can, you will be Christ himself. Can you feel like Buddha? Then you will become Buddha himself. So our spiritual virtue is to kill your eye. Kill our eye. Everybody's eye, that is selfishness. When you come out that limitation of selfishness, then you will become Christ or a Buddha or a Ramakrishna or a Chaitanya or a person like them. So that is the most important thing. Swami Vivekananda says, when he says about religion or spirituality, he says, religion is what? Swamiji says, it is in fact a journey. Religion or spirituality is only a journey. A few devotees from Kolkata came to Belur to see Swami Vivekananda. And they were very much satisfied. Their countenance, their face was telling that they are very much satisfied. Swami says, what is the matter with you? You look so much satisfied. Then the devotee said, Swamiji, we have been able to accomplish a great dream of ours. What is the dream? Our dream was to have a pilgrimage to Kedarnath. I think all of you know about Kedarnath, a place of pilgrimage in the Himalayas in India, Kedarnath, the Shiva temple. So Swami says, just visiting Kedarnath, having that pilgrimage, you are so happy and so satisfied? Yes. That was our life dream, and we have been able to accomplish that dream of ours. Swamiji says, no, my dear friends, that is not the thing. That should not be your goal. You think that just visiting Kedarnath, it was a great thing, a great object of pilgrimage. No, my dear friends. Religion is of course a journey, but it is never a journey from Calcutta to Kedarnath. Religion is of course a journey, but it is never a journey from Calcutta to Kedarnath. But it is indeed a journey. It's a journey from the brute man to the Buddha man, Swamiji says. Religion or spirituality is of course a journey. The journey is like this. Journey from the brute man to the Buddha man. Buddha is the highest example of human excellence, the most perfect and perfected person in history. So was Christ, so was Chaitanya, so was Ramakrishna. They are all like that. So Buddha was the highest stage of excellence, human excellence and perfection, Swami Vivekananda used to say. So when you become Buddha, when a person becomes Buddha, he attains the highest stage of life, highest stage of human perfection. That's what Swamiji says. Religion is of course a journey, but it's not a journey from Calcutta to Kedarnath, but a journey from the brute man to the Buddha man. The science says that the story of evolution started with amoeba. We all know about that. Charles Darwin said. Man's history started from amoeba, and evolution started. And it ended when amoeba reached the state of man. So from amoeba to man, there is a long, long, long journey of human evolution. So Swami Vivekananda says, if man's journey started from amoeba, then man's journey ended with Buddha or Christ or person like that. So it was really an evolution. And Swami Vivekananda says, religion, that is proper religion, true religion, and true spirituality is nothing but the history of evolution. The science of evolution from amoeba to man, but in terms of expression of human excellence, that was what Swami Vivekananda used to say. Then Swamiji says another wonderful thing in this connection. He says, if you say that man's evolution started with amoeba and man's evolution ended with Buddha, then you must accept the fact that amoeba was involved Buddha and Buddha was the evolved amoeba. Amoeba was because each carried the involution of Buddha. It was in it that potential, that possibilities of Buddha. So amoeba was involved Buddha, Swami Vivekananda says. And Buddha was what? Swami Vivekananda says. Amoeba was involved Buddha and Buddha was evolved amoeba. So religion or spirituality says that it's a story, it's a science of evolution in terms of expression of manifestation of human excellence. That is what spirituality does and makes of man. We should remember all these things. And another thing, in spirituality, there is no sin, we have already said. And Swamiji says that yes, there is no sin. Then what is that? when a person steals, when a person commits a murder or a very heinous thing, heinous object, then what should we call all these acts? Not sin, then what? Swami says, it is only truth. Man travels not from falsehood to truth, but from truth to truth. Man's traveling is only from the truth to truth. What truth? From what truth and ending in which truth? Swami says, from the lower truth to the higher truth. When a person steals or commits a murder or commits another very bad thing, then he commits only the lower truth. He or she does the lower truth. But when he is evolved, he attains that evolution in terms of the expression and manifestation of human excellence, then it's the higher truth, or the better truth, or the larger truth. That's why Swami Vivekananda says, man never travels from falsehood to truth, but from truth to truth, from the lower truth to the higher truth. You know the story of the composer of the Ramayana, that is Valmiki, the sage Valmiki. But sage Valmiki was initially a dacoit, and he was Ratnakara. And Ratnakara, coming in contact with sage Narada, became Valmiki eventually. So are these two persons different to each other? Ratnakara and Valmiki? No. He who was Valmiki, he came to be known eventually as Valmiki, came to be known as Ratnakara, eventually he became Valmiki. So there is no difference between the two. The same person. The difference is in terms of evolution, terms of manifestation of the human excellence or the divinity in him or her. That is the question. Swami Vivekananda used to say, a very fantastic utterance of his, the only difference between a saint and a sinner is that every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. Wonderful. The only difference between a saint and a sinner is that every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. Whom you call a saint, was he saint when he came out from the womb of his mother or her mother? No. He had to become a saint. Struggling. So that's why Swami says the only difference between a saint and a sinner is that every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. So this statement, first I came across in a one-act play of the British playwright Oscar Wilde. Maybe you have heard his name, Oscar Wilde. So one-act play, the title of the play is A Woman of No Importance. There, through the lips of a character in that play, I have seen these words. The only difference between a saint and a sinner is that every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. Then I started thinking, then say this first, Oscar Wilde or Swami Vivekananda. Then I got a reminiscence of Swami Vivekananda by his own younger brother, Mahendranath, second brother of Swami Vivekananda. So in that reminiscence, I find that Mahendranath was in London with Swami Vivekananda in 1895, 96, like that. Then Mahendranath, in his reminiscence of Swami Vivekananda, says that I have seen Oscar Wilde, the great British playwright, coming to listening to Swamiji's lectures in London. And one of the lectures, Swamiji said, the only difference between a saint and a sinner is that every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. And the same statement we find in Oscar Wilde's play, A Woman of No Importance. Then we connected the whole story. It was Swami Vivekananda who said, and Oscar Wilde got it from Swami Vivekananda himself. So this is the story of man's civilization. Man grows, man develops from truth to truth, from the lower truth to the higher truth. When he was Ratnakara, he was in his lower truth state. And when he emerged as the sage Valmiki, then he was in his higher truth self or higher truth status. That is everything. We think there are few other things, there are many things that cannot be covered in this lecture. So I am reminded of a very popular utterance of the Holy Mother, who said when our Swami Purnatmananda was doing his prayer in the beginning of this lecture, he was saying a prayer of the Holy Mother. Nobody is stranger, my dear child. Nobody is stranger to you. Everybody is yours only, your own person, own family member. Nobody is stranger to you. Make the whole world yours, because the world is yours only. Nobody is stranger to you. And Holy Mother used to say, don't find fault with others. But finding fault with others is a human instinct. We'll do that. Whether the scriptures say, the Vedas say, the Mahabharata Ramayana say, or the Bible say, we'll do that. We'll find fault with others because that is a human instinct. The Holy Mother knew that it is the human instinct. Then she said, if you want to find fault with others, then try to find fault of yourself. Your own faults you try to find out. Then you will find that you are full of so many faults and lacunas. How could you find fault with others? So that is the thing, that we should not find fault with others. And the Holy Mother used to say, always maintain a low profile of yourself. Always maintain a low profile of yourself. There are many people who always try to show that he or she is very important. In every movement of his or her life, they try to show that he or she is very important. But the Holy Mother says, maintain always, sincerely, a very low profile of yourself. Don't try to assert yourself so that you are very important. No. Try to maintain sincerely a very low profile. And Sister Nivedita, while introducing the complete works of Swami Vivekananda, makes few remarks, fantastic statements. Nivedita says, and that is samsara, that is spirituality or practical spirituality. Nivedita writes, henceforth there was no distinction between the sacred and the secular. We always make distinction. This is sacred, that is secular. This is work, that is worship. We always make this distinction. The difference is there. We never equate work and worship. Sister Nivedita writes, henceforth means from the time of Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna. Henceforth, there was no distinction between the sacred and the secular. This is sacred, that is secular. No distinction, no compartmentalization. Both are identical. Swami Vivekananda used to say, what is worship? I think all of you know. There is no difference between the two. Although we make difference, we think that work is a secular thing and worship is a religious or spiritual thing. But Nivedita writes, that is from the time of Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna, maybe from Buddha, Christ, Muhammad and other great prophets of the world. The same thing. Actually, there is no distinction between the sacred and the secular. To labor is to pray. You are working in the field, working in the factory as a laborer, but that is also prayer. That is according to Ramakrishna Vivekananda. That will be according to the message of practical spirituality. To labor is to pray, and to conquer is to renounce. To conquer is to renounce. Conquering what? That is renunciation. Renunciation of what? Your ego, your selfishness, your greed, your jealousy, your envy. That is the thing to be conquered. and that is renunciation. So renunciation is the highest point of spirituality. And if you are able to renounce your ego, your selfishness, your envy, your jealousy and meanness, narrowness, parochialism, etc., then you become spiritual. Then you become properly, truly religious. Actually, from true religion and true spirituality, there is no difference. Both are the same and identical. That's why Sister Nivedita writes, to conquer is to renounce. Then he writes the most fantastic phase of that statement. What is that? Life is itself religion. Every movement of life, every actions of yours could be converted, should be converted to worship, to spirituality, to true religion. That's why she writes, life is itself religion. Swami Ranganathanji Maharaj is a great monk, really a monk without frontiers. He was very much fond of quoting Swami Vivekananda's lectures from Colombo to Almora. Maybe all of you may be, or at least some of you may be knowing that Vivekananda was very much fond of Swamiji's lectures, particularly his lectures from Colombo to Almora. And there is a very famous lecture there, The Mission of Vedanta. Swamiji gave that lecture in Kumbakonam in South India. There, Swamiji says, preach the message of Vedanta to everyone. You should teach everyone the message of Vedanta. And what is that message? You call upon every man and tell him or her his or her real nature. Our real nature is divinity. That is the message of Vedanta. That is the message of Swami Vivekananda, Krishna, Christ, Buddha, everybody. Divinity. Call upon everyone and tell him or her his or her real nature. Teach yourselves, teach everyone this message of Vedanta and see how the sleeping lion gets awakened. Swamiji says there are 3 stages of spirituality. One is the stage of awareness. Awareness of my real nature, that is divinity. Then awakening to that stage, to that awareness that yes, I know that I am divine. This is the second stage. And the third and the final stage, according to Swamiji, is assimilation of those ideas. Swamiji says, catch hold of 5 ideas. Make them of your own life, part and parcel of your being, your whole system. Catch hold of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ideas and get them assimilated in your life, in your blood, in your system, in your nervous system. That's why Swamiji gave another fantastic definition of religion, education. What is that? Swamiji used to say, education is the nervous system of your education is the nervous association of certain ideas. You catch hold of some ideas, make them of your own life, part and parcel of your being, then that is real education. Sri Ramakrishna could not touch the metal because he knew that metal, that is money and rupee, is the source of all ill doings. That's why he could not touch money, rupee. It was so much so in his life that when he was sleeping, if anybody touched a coin on his foot or hand or any part of his body, just his system would revolt. That is the nervous association of certain ideas. From that illustration of Sri Ramakrishna's life, Swamiji got this definition of education. Education is the nervous association of certain ideas. So Swami Vivekananda says, teach everyone, teach yourself the real nature of man. That is the essence of Vedanta. And what will be done then? What you will get? Swamiji says, power will come, glory will come, goodness will come, purity will come, and everything that is excellent that will come, Swamiji says. But the moment you are aware, you are awakened to that state, and you have been able to assimilate the ideas that you have learned from the scriptures or the holy persons, then you get everything. And finally, I will conclude my discussion with this. That love is the final thing in spiritual virtue. Love. Holy Mother used to say, love everybody. Love is the central message of our Master. And with this bond of love, the family of the Master has been developed and grown up. So love is the most important thing in spiritual life and in the arena of spiritual values, love. There was a great German mystic of medieval times. His name is Meister Eckhart. We contemplate, we meditate in the caves, in the temples, in the churches or in the mosques. And Meister Eckhart says, what you gain in contemplation, pour out in love. What you gain in contemplation, in meditation, pour out in love. Express that outcome of your contemplation or meditation in love only. Very important thing. And love, finally, is the basic thing of spirituality. When love is manifested in your activities, in your treatment, in your every movement of life, then you are truly a spiritual person. Love, if you are able to make it manifest in your life, then you get the final point, the central message of practical spirituality. Love, love, and love. Thank you all.
Swami wants that if you have any question, his inspiring thoughts, and all of you for attending the service today. Now for some announcements of our upcoming events. The Golden Jubilee celebrations of the Vedanta Society will be held on Saturday, September 15th. Please see the flyer and the website for details. Tickets are available in person or online at Hammerson Hall. If you are unable to go to Hammerson Hall or purchase it online, please contact the society and they will purchase it on your behalf. There will be an interfaith music event, the Music of Faith, that will be held on the 16th of September, Sunday, here at the Vedanta Society, starting at 10:30 a.m. This will be followed by a music and a storytelling on the life of Swami Vivekananda. Janmashtami will be celebrated on September 2nd at 11 a.m. And there will be a Founders' Day celebration of the Vedanta Society that will be held on the 30th of November. You are all invited to attend all these events. This will be on the 30th of November at 6:30 p.m. There will be special guests. One is Swami Girishananda, the manager from Belgamat, and Swami Amarananda from Geneva. They will be attending this event. After the closing chant, you will be having an opportunity to do pranams to Swami Purnatmananda, and then this will be followed by prasad. For the next 15 minutes, there will be a question and answer session, and you can pose your questions to Swami and he will be answering them. Thank you.
Please raise your hand and right over there. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Maharaj. I just have a negative question, which is there anything which is difficult to practice in Vedanta?
Vedanta is a science of practicing spirituality, practicing proper religion. So nothing difficult in Vedanta. Vedanta is very easy. Sri Ramakrishna's life, Swami Vivekananda's life, and the Holy Mother's life are perfect identification of the teachings of Vedanta. How it could be taught, it could be demonstrated, it could be brought to our life. So it is very easy. If you start sincerely, you will be able to do it. There is nothing as difficult in Vedanta.
Pranam Maharaj, I just have a question. How do you differentiate between lower truth and a higher truth?
Yes, it was very clear, because when you commit a particular offense, a mistake, then you are in the level of lower truth. And when you transcend that stage, then you are in the level of higher truth or bigger truth or larger truth. Is it clear? Thank you.
Maharaj, with your permission, I'd like to ask one question.
Yes.
I have heard and also read in the paper also how you changes these Adivasis of Tripura when you were there. With love and affection, you converted them totally what government felt. Can you say a few words about that? I believe I will extremely appreciate.
That will be a self-propaganda. Should we do that?
I don't like to say that it is for the benefit of everybody.
You see, love is the only answer. Because when I took charge of Agartala, that is the capital of Tripura state, took charge of the center, there was insurgency going on. So from one part to another part of the small state of Tripura, it was very difficult. It was actually impossible because the time was of insurgency. Then I took charge and I thought, why in our own country, in India, we won't be able to move freely. It's a free, independent country. And why I would not be able, or others would not be able to freely move in this state of ours. So what I did, there was a mobile medical unit of our center. The unit used to visit some places where with physicians, doctors, surgeons, etc. with the team, and they used to visit those areas and give medical advices to them, if necessary, some minor operations also, surgery. So I thought that only the persons who are nearer to city, then they are getting the advantage of this service. So the other parts of the state, they don't get the service. So I should go everywhere where there is people in affliction, in distress. So I started moving, and the police headquarters gave me warning, please, Maharaj, please do not do that. We won't be able to give you protection. Please do not go in those areas. But I started going. Police says, Swamiji, you are taking a great risk of your life. We won't be able, because we fear to go there. For fear of our life, we don't go there. And you are going. I'm not worried. Necessity of my being a monk, if I can go anywhere and for the safety and security and protection of other people. Then I tried to visit the remotest areas, in the hills, in the jungles, and within 6 months or so, the situation changed. The whole scenario started changing, and those people who were sided with the insurgency, the extremists, they began to come to the mainstream of our life. And eventually, within 2 years, that insurgency just vanished, disappeared altogether. And the Chief Minister of the state, I should not say all these things only to self-propaganda only, but he wanted, that's why I am telling. Chief Minister in public lectures, he mentioned that it is because of this Swami, insurgency in our state has disappeared once for all. And everybody can go anywhere in this state. No fear. So I was prompted, I was inspired by the message of Ramakrishna Vivekananda, and of course the Holy Mother, and the message was only love, love, love. And by this magic of the watchword of love, we have been able, I say I, not I, but we have been able to make this insurgency disappear from the state of Tripura once for all. That is the only answer I can give. Although it was, for all practical purposes, it was a self-advertisement only. Thank you. Please forgive me.
Pranam Maharaj. How to inspire the younger generation with this Vedanta thought? And also, can you mention some of the names of the book in a very simple way, how to make them interested for the younger generation I'm talking?
Yes, there is a book called How to Overcome Mental Tension by Swami Gokulanandaji Maharaj, who was the former head of our New Delhi Center. He had a very good book, How to Overcome Mental Tension. And that is also a very good book for the younger generation, because there the Swami, the revered Swami Gokulanandaji, has discussed in detail how young generation can come to the message of Vedanta, and to also to Ramakrishna Vivekananda, and to the spiritual teachers of the world. So if you can go to that book, you'll be able to learn how you can inspire others, particularly the younger generation, to the message of Vedanta. And I would mention the book by revered Swami Mangalathanandaji Maharaj. His books are very powerful in this regard, and I think if these books are given to the hands of the younger generation, then it will be a very good thing, and we will be able to draw the younger generation to the message of Vedanta. But another thing is there. You must show your lifestyle to your sons and daughters that you are living an ideal life of Vedanta, following the message of Vedanta. If you are a follower of Vedanta, if you are a follower of Ramakrishna Vivekananda, a devotee, then you prove that in your action, in your treatment, and in every moment of your life, then you will be able to do that. Our devotees, they are very much in favor of making pranams to us. Pranam Maharaj, everybody will say, will come, but nobody will give his or her daughter or son to Ramakrishna Mission. They will come to us, make their pranams to us, but they will never give their children to us. For some time in the childhood they may give, but afterwards, no. Because the younger generation are not coming to us, coming to the message of Vedanta. That is the failure of the parents, I should say, because they do not show an example in their own lives. The message of Vedanta or the message of Ramakrishna Vedanta. You take the responsibility, you will, I mean, everyone, one of you, take the responsibility of putting yourself as a role model before your children. Then the younger generation will be drawn towards message, to the message of Vedanta. Any more question?
It's not
Yes.
a question, just to remember. Maharaj, it's not a question. My name is Sabita Raha, and I don't know if you remember me or not, but once upon a time I was very close to you. Anything I discuss and once the advice. Calcutta. And I took my daughter to you, and who said that if I don't feel anything, I won't take initiation, as long as I am not feeling anything. So I took her to you, and you were the editor of Udbodhan that time, and you talked to 2 hours with her, and after the next day she asked me, do I have any time to take initiations? And I won't forget that, Maharaj. We got so much blessings, so much advice. That's we are proceeding up to now. Thank you, Maharaj.
Revered Swami Ramanathanji and Swami Lokashanji, they were burning examples, you see.
Yes, I
it was the younger generation.
Location on the
Yes. About 60% renounced life, became a monk of the Ramakrishna order, and then some ladies who became nuns of the Sarada walked. After coming in contact with Swami Lokashanji or Swami Ramanathanji and Swami Premeshanandaji, that is burning examples. That's why Buddha, in his last message to his most favorite disciple Ananda, he said, Ananda, be a lamp unto yourself. You become a lamp, a light itself, and the others will come forward and get inspiration from your own life. So our duty is to make ourselves present before the younger generation as living illustrations. Then problem will be solved. Swamiji says, it is not proper that the room is dark and you are shouting, the room is dark, room is dark, room is dark. It will have no use. Just bring a candle and the darkness of the room will disappear immediately. So you just bring some positive message to them, no negative message, then everything will be sorted out and solved. Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Buddha, Jesus, Chaitanya, Muhammad, they did the same thing. We have to take lessons from their lives and activities.
Maharaj, about this younger generation, is there something can be done with this today's high tech? Not only for the younger generation, but also the adult generation, so that they can be attracted. So only with that they get attracted.
You see, it is not the duty of the Ramakrishna Mission monks. It is the duty of all parents here and everywhere. You think that it is the duty of the Ramakrishna Mission monks or the nuns of the Sangha, no. You become like yourself and everything will be like I said. Only positive. Rabindranath Tagore said to Romanala, the great French novelist, Nobel laureate, they are discussing Rabindranath Tagore and Romarola in Europe. Rola said to Rabindranath, Mr. Tagore, how could I know more about India? I have become a lover of India. I want to know more about India. How could I know India more beautifully and more knowledgeably? Then Rabindranath Tagore told him, if you want to know India, read Vivekananda. In him, everything is positive and nothing negative. So our life should be very much positive. Our examples should be very much positive. Our activities, actions, movements must be very positive. If you are positive in your behavior, in your statement, in your treatment, then everything will be taken care of.
Swamiji, this is a very encouraging speech by you today. We are very thankful that you came. I have a question. This younger generation, like we came to know about Vivekananda at a very later stage of our life. If we can put this into our regular school curriculum in India, in Kolkata, mostly at a junior level, so we have a character building course, which we never had. Character building meanings what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. Is it not possible that we can talk to our politicians and put that as a school curriculum at a junior level?
We tried this thing, but we have never become successful. But in our own institutions run by the Ramakrishna Mission, everywhere in India and other parts of the world, we are trying to do this in our own humble capacities, to teach the younger generation, our students, the essential message of India, essential message of Vedanta, that is the positive message. We are trying in our humble capacities, that's all. But the government, we approached, but they always fear of losing their ballots, you see, that is the problem. Everything is considered in terms of how many votes they will be getting, that is the problem. But we are trying, in our humble capacity, in a humble way, we are trying to teach our students the message of eternal India, the message of Vedanta, and also, in particular, the message of Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, and the Holy Mother.
Thank you so much.
And this is the last question.
Did Ramakrishna Dev say that all religions are equal?
Please?
Did Ramakrishna Dev say that all religions are equal?
Ego.
Equal.
Religions are equal.
Huh?
Did Ramakrishna say, are all religions equal?
Ramakrishna said yes. The goal is equal. Goal is the same. But the paths, the ways are different, that's all. As many faiths, so many paths, Sri Ramakrishna said. In Bengali he said, Jato mat, tato path. So the goal is the same, idea is the same. The paths, the means, the ways to reach that goal, the idea, are different. That's all.
After the closing chants, I will have an opportunity to offer a pranam to revered Swamiji just outside the hall in front. Now the closing chants. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji ki Jai. Jai Mahamai ki Jai. Jai Swami Ji Maharaj Ji ki Jai. Jai Ganga Mai ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Buddha ki Jai. Jai Isha Musha ki Jai. Jai Swami Niranjanananda Maharaj Ji ki Jai. Sarva Staratu Durgani Sarvo Nandatu Sarvasat Buddhimapnotu Sarvas Sarvatra Nandatu Hari Om Tat Sat. May all be freed from dangers. May all realize what is good. May all be actuated by noble thoughts. May all rejoice everywhere. Oh, peace, peace, peace be unto us all.